really hoping you can't... My neighbour's playing music. I'm hoping you can't hear it.
You can't hear it.
Okay, that's good. Lovely ladies. One week I'm going to bring...
Waiting for Bill.
1 week I'm going to be like, okay, so my BopCulture moment of the week is the Les Mis original West End pop recording from 1983. At the end of the day, slaps. One day more, what a banger.
I love it.
Hello and welcome to the BopCast, your weekly indulgence into the world of pop. Each episode will highlight a different topic and share our BopCulture moments of the week, celebrating the genius of this genre in all its forms. The stigma around pop needs to change, and we're here to tell you why. So, whether you stand pop music, want to expand your knowledge, or you just want some light relief from the impending doom and existential dread that comes from modern living, we've got you covered. The term guilty pleasure is cancelled.
This week, we want to explore the supposed definitions of pop music, challenge their simplicity, and what impact this can have on a pop artist.
I'm Ryan, and with me are Thom and Lowri. How are you guys?
Hello, you okay?
Oh, wow. That was a wave of...
Just any form of human contact or interaction at the moment is just like overly exciting, I guess.
Yeah, I'll take it all. Take it all. Well, I think we've started to develop a very strange relationship to the cats that come into the garden every day just because it's someone else. Me and Georgia have to just like talk to each other. Just like, a cat!
Yeah, so yesterday my housemate like bought a bike for the first time, and we basically bought it off Gumtree, and we bought it off from Bethnal Green, so half an hour walk. It was the most epic hour-long experience, mainly because we were just like so hyper about actually leaving the house to go and do something. So we got to walk. At one point it felt like it was a really sunny day. It felt like we were kind of on holiday. Like when you're walking back from an Airbnb, there's like one of the pubs was open with a kiosk, and actually getting to speak to a barman.
Oh, nature is healing.
Oh my God, the emotion. So he basically just turned around and was like, oh, hi, can I help you? What can I get you? And like my whole body was like, oh my God, I have missed this interaction. And like paying, he was like, oh, it's £4, please. I was like, oh, yes. This is
so reasonable as well.
I will never complain about London prices ever again. Like just being able to pay for a pint, like I will take, you can take all my money when this is over. It's funny because we've been having a chat about that around things like really mundane things that you used to complain about or tut about in daily life that maybe you kind of are taken for granted. Like I will never complain about overpriced food in coffee shops ever again. Like, give me every overpriced sandwich.
Oh, God, yeah. What I wouldn't give to pay 50p extra for some oat milk.
Next time I get a burrito, I will always be having guac. Like, there is no way I'm missing out on anything. Is there anything that you think, Lau?
I really miss the egg and crust sandwich from Pret. And I just don't even care how basic that is. But I fucking love that sandwich, honestly.
As a fairly recent mover to London, the hype around Pret, I do not get.
Oh, God.
I spend like, honestly, their berry pot as well is so nice. And I'll get like a coffee and a berry pot is like £100 in the morning. I'm like, that's fine. Yeah, I could deal with that.
So let's move on to our BopCulture moments of the week. It's probably worth noting that May is a big month for music. Obviously, just this week we've had some absolute bangers we've got Jessie Ware, we have got Charlie's got new music out, Kim's got some new music out. We've got Chromatica coming this month. We're officially going Chromatica Loves.
Yeah, so Lady Gaga's announced her new album, 29th of May.
So we've also got Carly Rae Jepsen is going to release her B-side album to Dedicated, which is coming out in a couple of weeks. We've also got Charlie XCX is going to release her Quarantine album this month. Also, Katy Perry has announced a new single is coming from KP5.
Oh, I haven't heard that.
Yeah,
I'm
it's called
so excited.
Daisies, I think.
As a challenge, are you able to do that verse? Like, can you sing it? And the whole chorus of, is it If It's Really Over?
Just because it's over doesn't mean it's really over, and if I think it over, baby, you'll be coming over again, enough to get over and over. I can't do it in one breath.
That was it.
Just
You
because
did
it's
it
over
well.
doesn't mean it's really over. That's the tour.
Lau, can you do
harmony.
it?
I don't even know the words properly.
Yeah.
Just because it's over doesn't mean it's really over, and if you think it's over, maybe you'll be coming over again, and I'll have to get over.
Oh,
Get over
bullshit.
I
It's
just-
so tongue-tied. Anyway,
Yeah.
we probably have to take that out for copyright reasons. No, it should be.
Oh,
fine.
fuck.
It's less. No, it's
Oh,
less.
Ugh.
Trust me, Ryan. You're not. Your vocals weren't of a level where Katy Perry's legal team are going to be coming down on the BopCulture.
That was a
being
cover.
like,
That was a
"Excuse
cover. That was a fucking parody. Back to the pop culture moments. What have we got this week? Tom, would you like to start? As Lowri, I believe you started last week. So
Yes.
go ahead, Tom.
So I thought I'd go with a little, sort of, again, this is all about bringing new artists to the table, kind of bringing new, kind of unheard of artist from Texas, Houston called Beyonce.
Not heard of her.
Haven't heard of it.
I am a massive Beyonce fan. If you have been living under a rock or haven't seen, so Megan Thee Stallion, who is a female rapper from Houston, Texas as well, same as Beyonce. She released a single this year or maybe last year. I feel like I probably should have written the year down, because Savage. Most people probably will have heard it by now. If not, it's the dance. It's the sort of viral dance that's going on TikTok at the moment. Once in a blue moon, we get a feature from Beyonce, and she's basically gone on this track with Megan. It's a huge deal. Like, I mean, one, the remix is amazing. So for me, it's like an actual remix. I don't know what your guys' thoughts on it, but I think what happens at the moment is, particularly when you kind of get a remix and an artist gets added on, it tends to be that they will just kind of add a verse. This is like, they've just reinvented the whole song. I've literally just been listening to this like on repeat, like over and over. Beyonce comes in first. We get a brand new lyric a brand new verse from Megan. It's just well produced, and it's just for me, there just feels like there was just something very special about it. Where Megan's from in Houston is literally just around the corner from where Beyonce grew up. So you think your whole childhood has been sort of like Destiny's Child and Beyonce. For most of us, we kind of have a connection or a love for Beyonce or Destiny's Child growing up, but then for it to be where you're from, it's just wicked. Like, I guess for you, Lau, it would be like you being asked by Nessa from Gavin and Stacey to kind of collaborate on a song together. Like, it must be the same kind of thing, Megan, both of them being from Houston, Texas, and you and Nessa being from Barry Islands. Like,
absolutely.
If she came to you and
remix on
asked
the
you-
slots.
I was trying to think of a comparison.
I can feel that, absolutely. I would love to have a song with Ness. That's actually really good.
I'm not a massive fan of when people bring singles out again, and I hate that Little Mix and things like that always have to collaborate with with Sean
Jason
Paul
Derulo.
or with Machine Gun Kelly, which is fine, and there's obviously room for that, and it's great when artists work together. But when you can kind of see through it and you see why they're having to do that, and it's such a shame when they should be able to, they're so talented and amazing performers that they should be able to kind of stand on their own. But I think with this, Beyonce is obviously, she doesn't fuck about. She thought this through and knew exactly what she wanted to do and how she was going to do it, and it's fucking paid off massively. And yeah, I love Beyonce's like deep, slow rap voice. It's just so hot, and she's so good at it.
It's so hot. She's just fit. When she just talk, you just feel like she's just kind of like, I don't really give a shit. I'm going to talk about how I don't really give a shit because I am like the best, and you can't challenge me on that. And I love it. And that bit when she sings the stallion and the bee at the end, like I just kept thinking like, imagine being Megan and like hearing Beyonce like singing your name and her name together. Like, I just lose my shit.
I think you never really get to see Beyonce's personality other than kind of through her lyrics and her like performances. But
you don't know a lot about her, do we? Really?
I love that it was still never kind of out there what happened in the bloody elevator
Oh my
with
God,
Solange.
that is
That honestly
what?
caught up in one of the biggest scandals, and she managed to just, it
good.
went under the radar. No one
Nothing.
really
No one says anything.
properly
Apart
knows
from
what
that,
happened.
apart from that line in,
There's $1 billion in the elevator.
yeah, of course some shit's going to go down when there's $1 billion in an elevator.
Yeah.
I was like, yes, of course shit's going to go down when there's $1 billion in an elevator. I'm like,
Got a point.
yeah.
Okay, Lowri, do you want to take us through your pop culture moment of the week?
Yeah, it's Jessie Ware's new song, Save a Kiss.
So good.
Fantastic. I just absolutely obsessed with Jessie. I have a long-standing love affair with her. I've been a fan from like early Devotion days, and I've really watched her as an artist grow. And she's done a lot of different styles, and especially in her previous album. And I think she's kind of back to like, not that I don't love all forms of Jessie, but I feel like she's back to like Devotion days Jessie. She's back really funky, and I've really enjoyed her releases from What's Your Pleasure, which is coming out in a few weeks' time. Again, we've got a really great couple of months of music coming. I feel very blessed. But yeah, Save a Kiss dropped last night, and it's just I just literally can't wait to be in a club and that come on. And she's working with James Ford at the moment, who is a producer who's worked with likes of Arctic Monkeys and Florence and the Machine. So a bit of a different kind of producer for Jessie, but also Midland, who is an amazing DJ who I've seen quite a few times. Such a great DJ, really upbeat and disco-y. And that mixed together with her, it's just delicious. I'm obsessed.
It just makes you feel nice. It just makes you feel nice, doesn't it?
It's a really good upbeat tune, makes you feel really, really good. And I just really I think who she is as a person really radiates through her music. And I think she's just a really great person who,
She's just really cool.
If I could be any celebrity, I would honestly be Jessie Ware.
Yeah.
Because she's just got such, obviously I don't know the inside of her life, but she just seems to be a really well-rounded person who has a real eye and ear for things. And I'm really excited for this album, and hopefully get to see her on tour.
I know. She's
So
the queen
excited.
of multitasking, like to be a really big recording artist and a mum and, having a massive podcast.
Yeah.
Which obviously we can relate to, already.
Exactly. I've loved how, all of her releases in the lead up to this album, the singles have all been so good. I don't think there's been any that I've kind of felt underwhelmed by. I think they've all been phenomenal. I'm a bit gutted that Overtime that she released a while ago.
God, that was a fucking bomb.
I'm a bit gutted that that's not going to be on the album. Because I think I honestly can't tell you how many times I've listened to that song.
So good.
It's so good for running or like in the gym. It's just like a real good, and it's a good length as well, and it really kind of gets you through and pushes you through. And I do kind of imagine I'm in a club just like listening and dancing along and like taking you to a different place.
I've got such good memories of her. Like, Larry, it was me, you and Ria went to Glastonbury and one of the years, and it was we've gone to see Disclosure.
I do remember this.
That for me, that Disclosure set is arguably one of the best sets of my life I've ever seen. There were loads of different reasons why. It was kind of like end of uni year. That whole album, like their first album, was like just a really like iconic album for me. I've been a fan of theirs for ages. I feel like you and Rian don't remember much of that set at all. Like it
was a lot of like flashing lights. That's for sure.
And as we walked out, we were heading to the John Peel stage.
Yeah.
Jessie Ware had performed, and she walked past us.
Yes.
And I didn't know what to do. I absolutely panicked, and then literally just shouted at her. I went, "Oh my God, you're Jessie Ware!"
Yeah.
And then she looked really startled, so she made me jump. And I was like, "Oh my God, we love you so much! Like that was amazing, thank you." And I think we just like freaked her out loads.
Yeah. She looked very, very like scared.
Yeah. To be fair, I was so hyper and not expecting her after that gig. I think I just let out all my adrenaline from that set, like at her in one go.
Yeah.
So I apologise. Obviously, Jessie Ware, you're listening. I apologise in advance for startling you as you came off stage with Disclosure in 2014.
So, God, I don't even know. It's all blurring into one.
All right then, Ryan.
What's yours, Ryan?
What have you got
What have I got
Ryan?
for you? I recently discovered an artist. She's kind of, I wouldn't say she's like massively big at the minute, but she kind of came up on my radar, I think, actually thanks to Spotify. Initially came up on just like an artist radio, and this was one of the tracks on there. But her name's Chappell Roan, and the song is Pink Pony Club. Now, I should probably tell you a little bit about her. So she released her first single in 2017. I think she's at kind of early 20s. And her music's kind of, it's a mixture of her, I say older stuff, obviously it's only been a couple of years, but her first stuff was kind of a bit more somber and a bit more moody, but still quite poppy as well. And this kind of, I think she's released 2 tracks now that I think are going to be either it's an EP that's coming up or it's an album, I'm not too sure yet. But they're kind of on a different path. And they're a lot more kind of upbeat, a bit more campy. And Pink Pony Club, it's such a good song. She's quite an interesting one. She is from Missouri, and she apparently went to New York in like 2015 to go to a load of showcases, like music showcases, and managed to sign to Atlantic while she was still in high school.
Isn't that that's one of the bigger ones, right?
Huh?
Yeah.
Atlantic.
So cool.
Huge. And then, so this track, I'll just tell you, but I've read an interview with her, and it's kind of, apparently Pink Pony Club is about, it's a track that expresses her own fluid journey of self-discovery through her first visit to West Hollywood's world-famous gay bar, the Abbey. And I sent you guys the music video to look at, and it is so amazing. It's queer as fuck. Cool. The visuals are amazing. She gives us choreography, builds. It's amazing. I really think she is a star in the making. I think she is going to be huge. I'm really hoping that she kind of has that projection and gets the recognition that she deserves. And if you look on YouTube, all the comments are like, bitch, you're gonna have a fucking Lizzo, like you are gonna someone's gonna find
that's wicked.
It's gonna pick you up. But right now, like Instagram, she's got like not that this relates, but obviously as a pop star it does, but she has like 8,000 followers, 9,000 followers, which is just mad. Like she deserves so much more. Excited to see what comes next as well, because the past these 2 songs, Pink Pony Club, and then there is another one called Love Me Anyway. They've both been kind of produced and co-written with a guy called Daniel Negro, and he has produced and written songs for Caroline Polachek, who obviously had a massive album recently. Lewis Capaldi, Carly Rae Jepsen, Sky Ferreira, has written, and Kylie's done a couple of songs for Kylie as well, I believe. So there's big things coming for her. And you heard it here first, lads.
Go check her out. We'd love to know what your thoughts are.
Go watch the music video. It's got glitter, drag queens, leather daddies.
And sorry, and just add, we will actually have a playlist up by the time this episode comes out, and everything that we talk about, our pop culture moments, and even people that we referenced throughout the episodes, all of their tracks will be on there for your listening pleasure.
Yeah, so we'll put a link up for it on our socials. It was actually one of the things that we had fed back from the first episode, was people were like, you need to do a playlist. So yeah, we'll be doing it on Spotify, and also we'll be doing it on Apple Music, because I am not a Spotify user. I am an Apple Music person. So for those people who are Apple Music people over Spotify, there's not many of us, but there is a few of us. We'll do it on both.
Fantastic.
Lovely. Okay.
Should we take a break now?
Yes, let's go take a break, and then we'll come back and actually get on to our main topic.
What I thought I'd do is use someone's opinion. I thought, rather than just finding like general ones or us kind of picking like little things out that people have said, I thought I'd try and, there's this guy, Simon Firth, Simon Frith, who I found out is actually
Mr. Frith.
So he's actually Simon Frith OBE.
Wow.
So he's a British socio-musicologist. and a former rock critic who specialises in popular music culture.
What's his favourite rock?
I think it's Sediment.
Amethyst.
Amethyst. Oh my god, I hated rocks. I hated rocks in geography. Literally so boring. Like,
oh my god, but in geography I can't.
Right. So
anyway, sorry guys.
About this, and I think it will pick out like different bits of it that I think we can try it, and I think it hopefully will kind of give us a bit, like allow us to kind of pick out bits that we feel like maybe might be more chart based, and bits that might be a bit more sort of like actually showing where we now actually do have a genre that is pop. Okay, so the first element is he says that so pop music is produced as a matter of enterprise, not art, and is designed to appeal to everyone, but doesn't come from a particular place or mark of any particular taste.
Simon has no taste. No, that's bullshit. Bullshit, Vivian. Bullshit.
So I wanted to pick out some bits here. So I think the first bit I wanted to look at is that kind of enterprise, not art.
No one writes a song in their bedroom going, oh my God, I'm doing this just because I want to make fuckloads of money, because chances are it's not going to happen.
Do you think that's happened recently? Like, so we can now sit and do this podcast, right? Because it's easy to record. There's recording software I can get on my laptop.
Yeah.
A lot of pop is very linked with electronic. So for me to now create pop music in my bedroom is very easy, because I can download a bit of software, I can get all the recordings and have all the If you look at when it kind of first started, which some of that early days where it would have had to come from a label. How do you feel about the line, Lau, where it sort of says like designed to appeal to everyone? Do you think there's like 50-50?
I guess there's two sides to that, because obviously there is a part of that when you're signed to a big label and they want you to do well, and they want you to have songs that are catchy and that people would sing along and want radio play. So I think there is an element, but I think that's not as much as it was. I think artists don't necessarily feel the pressure to go down that route. I think that was kind of the main route quite a while ago, that if you wanted to be a pop star, that was the route you had to take. Had to be in these labels, you had to get these big hit songs, otherwise there wasn't really any space for you. Whereas now you have people like Kim or Charlie or like Slater just coming in and doing their own things from their house and thinking, actually, I want to kind of make music. And this is the kind of music that I want to make, and not having to go down these big label routes. And they, some songs that these smaller, musicians have, not smaller, sorry, but kind of they're less known, they could be major hits. Yeah. But they're just with more of an alt artist. So it's just not the same.
Yeah, I think his quote is very dated. And I think maybe back in the day, like, feel like, especially 50s, 60s, I mean, going off the very historically accurate Dreamgirls, where it's like radio play, isn't it? And it's like at the time, like that's what it was. It was all about getting on the radio and getting your songs heard and like being perfectly packaged.
Yeah, and it's very controlled by a certain amount of people, and they're at those same outlets.
I mean, that's the birth of like pop music and radio, isn't it? That's the beginning, and now it has evolved so much. And I think that's what's amazing about the genre, is that so versatile and so diverse, and has completely, changed things.
Also, you can like launch your own like artistry from your socials, like we have with this. Like we're promoting this to our own socials, and like you can literally become a musician from, like, to use her as an example, like Slater, she just started out, she's just pushed herself on socials, done everything herself. Bree Runway is another example. She is signed, but she has done a lot of that herself.
YouTube, look at YouTube as a platform. YouTube is
launched. Oh gosh,
so many.
You was where somebody else, Justin Bieber was found there, and I think if you look at arguably one of the biggest pop stars in the world
as well. She should have stayed there.
Yes, not Jessie J. If you look at someone like Lizzo is arguably the biggest pop star in the world. Yeah. Truth Hurts came out like 5 years ago. 5 years ago, she was like, and I think there's a really sad story of like her like being in her car, like didn't have anywhere to live, like crying, whether she knows give up. Feel good.
I love those stories.
Come up. And it's amazing. She made music that she wanted to make, and her stuff is pop. I would definitely say she's a pop star. She's definitely got 100%. Influences of, rap, hip hop. She's got R&B influences, but she's making like unapologetic pop music. She's not what you would expect from a factory produced pop star. she made music that people want. She's characteristic, she's got amazing charisma, and it just doesn't fit into that bracket of okay, she obviously wanted to be successful.
Yeah, I feel like artists these days
wanted to make a career for herself, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
I
don't think artists want to fit into that bracket as much anymore either. I think they think it's kind of lame. Yeah, they're just like, I don't want to do that. I want to do my own thing. I want to be, this is the music I want to make. I believe in this and I want to take it to where it can go. Yeah. And I think that's what's totally changed. You can just upload your songs onto Spotify. You can do your own music videos. Like, you don't need to go down those big routes where your label are telling you this is your first single. Like,
and it's interesting. It flows into the next point. So, like, the next part of his quote is he adds that it's not driven by any significant ambition except profit and commercial reward. And in musical terms, it's essentially conservative. I mean, essentially conservative. Mm-hmm. I understand what you mean by, like, maybe 10, 15 years ago. Maybe even further back than that. And Dreamgirls is a really good actually reference point of that, as in, like, people sat in a boardroom having a way of like, right, this is where pop is, and this is how an artist needs to be and what they need to do in this. And there's still very much that, like, it still exists. We're not saying that doesn't exist anymore, and it is still a frustration, because you look at the chart and in some ways you do see it's frustrating, because sometimes what's actually breaking into the chart is a very similar mold of person or a very similar artist, which I find in the chart is actually quite dull. When you look at people who are really classing themselves as pop stars at the moment and really coming through, they're anything but conservative. They're coming in with their own things.
And actually the breaking of the conservative values is what is putting them in the mainstream. Like, Taylor Swift went from being a country star from doing 1989, which truly 1989 completely changed her genre, like completely flipped that on its head and really kind of put her out there. But even I think his quotes even dated from like the 50s or 60s, because like Elvis was writing stuff that was like shaking things up and like fucking thrusting his hips, and that was enough to make people go mad. And that's like that's not conservative.
Tom Jones, Tom Jones, you can leave your hat on.
Yeah, Daddy Thom.
No, absolutely.
And even Kylie Minogue with the when she had like the gold hot pants. I mean, it shouldn't be
slow as well, such a
but it's also not all sexualized. Like, I appreciate that, but because in some ways that can, even though you're talking about conservative,
we've still got Meghan Trainor.
I actually really like some of her songs.
I do like
she's got some absolute bangers.
She's great, but again, she's actually quite a good example, because again, she was a songwriter and was basically told every time she brought something out, she was told, I was listening to an interview with her, that it was like, oh, you're going to be a great songwriter, and no one even gave her the chance to be able to be a pop star in her own right, and she came out and has done
wore a onesie on Drag Race.
Yeah, I mean that's unforgivable.
That's unforgivable.
I did actually enjoy her on The Voice, and she's married to the little brother
Spy
Kids.
Oh my god, I died.
Yeah, the boy in the curly hair. I always
have a really weird. Yeah, I had a really weird crush on him when I was young.
Wow.
But yeah,
he's the guy from Thunderpants. Yeah,
we love Thunderpants.
Right, I'm gonna claw this back from niche kids.
Sorry.
Oh God, so bad. Sorry,
because that would fall down a hole that never get there. So one of the other things that it says, which again is kind of proving this, is it's provided on high, so by record companies, radio programs, and concert promoters, rather than being made from below. Pop is not a do-it-yourself music, but it's professionally produced and packaged. So I think I think it links a lot of the things that we've said earlier, which is
I think, like, looking at that, there is some play between, I think we can't dismiss that there's still massive music labels that are still, host some of the biggest artists on their roster, and they are responsible, for these artists being very successful because they've kind of worked with them. And I think there is some label play between charts, which we will probably get onto at a later date. But I think there is this like rebellion of like, it's not like a perfectly packaged product anymore. And people don't feel like they have to fit that product and that mold. So it's constantly changed. Like even with someone like, you know, Stormzy, these people are choosing not to sign, they're choosing to go and do it their own way. But so there is a big
Stormzy as a pop
world.
star? Or would you say someone who's become
I think he's a mix. I think on this days also you don't, I think there is a
you're not one set genre.
Yeah, you
one.
don't have to. You don't have to be a rapper. You don't have to be.
But he's not a pop
star.
I wouldn't say he fits in the pop genre.
He's like primarily he is a grime artist, but he also like he's featured on pop songs. So so I think you can be more than one.
And then in relation to pop, in relation to kind of what this is kind of hinting at, like Ryan, would you say that because there is this assumption that it is a top-down genre rather than all this great stuff coming from, you know, that is coming from people making it themselves, or it is coming from it's a down up? Do you think that then people only expect it from a top down? So is that having an impact in the way artists people are able to discover them, or the way that then they're getting mainstream versus maybe other genres, for example?
How do you mean top down?
So like because in what they're saying in the quote is essentially that it comes from record labels and it comes from being signed to big labels.
Yep.
Because I definitely find that some of my frustration comes that like I listen to someone like Slater, or I listen to some Charlie XCX stuff, or you know, even with, I mean, Kim Petras is getting like Radio 1 play now, but and also not to
for a long time she wasn't.
Not just you. I don't want to just keep using the same examples, but there are more. You know, you could look at someone like Muna as well. That obviously I listened to this week, but like because they like people just expect it from a top down. So if you're not signed to a big label, or you're not producing what that kind of, you know, what this kind of someone like this has created this definition, you know, and they're obviously qualified
from the dark ages.
They're saying what they're saying is completely wrong, but it's really this is the definition of chart music and commercialized popular music, not necessarily pop. So again, we'll go on the circles, but I guess my question is, do you think then that's hindering artists, or actually then the way, so like if you're a rap artist, for example, or someone like Stormzy, you can go on a specialist radio show. So like there's a rap show on Radio 1, or you can you've got One Extra, or if you're more of an indie artist, you've got things like Radio X, you've got like an indie show. You've got ways of kind of coming up through. Like I just don't think that there's.
I think there are more options now, and people's taste is so varied at the minute, and people are really, I think, a lot more open to stuff that they hear. That I think there are things like those specialized shows where people can get like notoriety.
But is there one for pop? I just don't think there is. I just find that quite frustrating.
Well, I think because that's always been the charts, I guess, and you would have to break through in a different. Well, I guess there's stuff like Annie Mac plays quite a lot of stuff that's. But
Annie Mac is, I would say, is kind of more of an amalgamation of lots of different ones. So like, Annie Mac brings together what there isn't. There isn't.
Charlie XCX the Candy Shop.
Yeah, you've got Charlie XCX Candy Shop on
Beats. Low,
but
I think it's getting there.
But as I've learned, no one has Apple Music but me, so I'm probably one of the only.
Nope.
So if you take that I'm the only person who has an Apple Music subscription on planet Earth and doesn't have Spotify, then I'm the only person. So do you understand what I mean? That's where my frustration comes.
There's no like place to celebrate that. That's kind of
because
just pop.
This definition is not. Most people will read this definition and go, yeah, that's probably what is pop music. And I think this really separates out what the difference is between popular music and pop music, and actually what is then frustrating, because I feel like someone who produces their own pop music, who does it because they want to say something and has art, isn't able to, because there's such a narrow-minded view of what pop is. Not only do people look for it. I mean, like it said to me, like a year ago, I wouldn't have known this whole wave of, you know, other pop artists existed, because I didn't know that there was this underground.
I think a lot of people are using, I think pop in particular, like socials, I think are really big, and like Twitter. And I think the fact that now that there's hardly any, there's been a decline in like A&R jobs in record labels. Like there aren't actually that many A&R people anymore that go out and go like hunting for people. Obviously they still exist, and it's still bands get signed that way. But I think a lot of it is just stuff online, and it's the hype that people create, and TikTok and all these brand new platforms that are available. But I do think you're right. Actually, I've never really thought that there isn't a specific platform or
there needs to be
for pop.
Yeah, and then looking at the like bit where it's sort of like the professionally produced and packaged, like
but a lot of like other music is produced as well. Like it's not just pop music. Like James Ford, who I mentioned earlier with Jessie Ware, he produced all of Arctic Monkeys' work. So that in itself is like no one would probably focus on that as much. But
they are also all men.
Jessie Ware, a lot of them are men. There's not enough women. But you know, it is true, and I think that pop does have this reputation of being really overproduced and like packaged, but literally most music has a producer, and even these bands you think would do it all themselves. And there are some bands that obviously do, but a lot of them don't, and a lot of them have a producer.
Yeah, and even those songs that are like overly produced have their purpose, and you know, like, they do take it on face value.
But a lot of that has been revolutionised by pop music, because really that's what pop showed what you can do, and why having a producer is more important, and why you need to have production, and what actually it can do for something that's quite
it can do so much, like it can like
I guess, is there anything you guys want to say, final thing on this topic? Is there anything that you kind of learned, or anything that you kind of feel like from this process of looking at the looking at the genre and looking at some of the stereotypes around it? What would you say are kind of the key things that you've taken from this, or what you kind of feel like you wanted to get across?
I think for me, I'd never really focused on kind of the influences that different genres that have influenced pop, and then kind of vice versa, how then like the pop sound has influenced other kind of genres. And it's never something that really crossed my mind. But I think also just not taking pop at like face value, and it's really kind of opened it up as a genre and as a style of music for me.
Yeah, me too. I think from like the genre pop and popular, and they're actually very separate things, and just how some artists can really balance quite a fine line between them both, but they can do them quite well. And just seeing how much that has evolved over time, like with everything now that we have at our fingertips, like Spotify or all our socials, and how that's influenced and changed over time, and how it keeps evolving. And it's just not as simplistic as people assume, and I think people are very unaware of it, to be honest. So it's very interesting.
And I'd agree with both of the things that you guys said. And I think definitely for me, I think I've really now feel quite passionate about that there are these two separate things, you know, that popular music and chart music is completely different from pop. I do think pop nowadays takes a lot of influence from historical chart music, and I think that's where that bit comes into it. But I think, although where these definitions come from, you can see the logic behind them and do apply to some pop, I think the way that sometimes they are expressed or put down on paper or talked about here is kind of almost belittling. And actually this genre has the power to be, you know, as irrelevant and just irreverent and just not irrelevant, damn it.
This genre is just irrelevant.
It's just irrelevant, that's what I've learned. Irreverent, and can just mean nothing, and just can have that power of just being able to switch off. At the same time, has an ability to make incredibly powerful messages.
I think we've only scratched the surface, especially on the stigma, and why, like, psychologically, why automatic, like why that's kind of the norm, is to completely dismiss it as a genre, and it just seems to be the go-to, and it's kind of inherently just in your nature. As soon as you hear pop music or someone mentions the word, it's automatically met with a kind of like a dismissive, like, no, it's rubbish, it's not real genre. And why that is, and why that is the human. Hello. Bye.
Well, Lowri's cut herself off, so we'll.
Oh, I'm back. What the hell?
Something I said, love.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's all right. Ryan was giving a really moving speech. I was kind of reduced to tears, but I guess you kind of ruined it now. So
sorry. I'll have to listen. I'll have to listen back.
You have to listen to the podcast. Yeah, I'm gonna go and recover and just dry my eyes from the emotional speech that Ryan just gave.
Thank you.
Sorry, I'm not sure what happened.
And then, if you fancy joining us for the final bit, Lau, please feel free. So how do we feel now? So episode 2, kind of, we've done that discussion. How do we feel after, episode 1 came out? How do we feel the response has been?
I feel like I'm coming for Simon Frith, musicologist. I think he needs to step aside. I mean, he's due to retire. He's born in the 40s. He's got to be pushing it.
Yeah,
so.
where's my? I feel like
where's my OBE?
Yeah, I was going to say we can get an OBE out of this.
You can be the O, I'll be the B, and Larry can be the E.
Oh, thank you. We're learning as we go, and this is so new. But it's
it was so weird putting
how
it out. It was I mean, I'm such a big radio nerd anyway, and being able to go on Apple Podcasts and Spotify and seeing what we've done was mad. And we just want to thank the feedback we've had has been really good. Thank you so much to everyone who supported us and helped us. I want to give a shout out to my housemate Atlanta, who did all the designs for us.
Amazing. Thank you. Love it. We stand.
She's done all the visuals for us. So if you want to touch, she's at Atlanta Sultana _designs. We'll put it on anyway. But
and little Joe as well, bless him. He did the little voiceover bit.
Yeah,
the voiceover bit of typing.
Yeah, we want to thank everyone for that.
Yeah.
It was so great hearing from Girls' Night Out. We haven't sent it to them or anything, and hearing from them, because they're our people, and that's who
they are. And we can't wait to get back on party.
Oh,
out.
My God. Yeah.
You're going to have a playlist. There's so much to play.
We have to go for 3 days.
Yeah, I don't mind actually. I will go for 3 days. Just bring a spare change of pants.
It's been amazing, and to have people that just reach out and actively be like, oh, where's the link? Can I listen to it? And
we're asking where Ep 2 is as well. Sorry, Roan.
It's what the people want. They're going to.
We're doing it now,
and some people don't want it, and they're going to get it.
We're going to give it.
We're all going to get it.
The only follow-ups I had from the last episode was I did as I was instructed, and I did listen to Muna.
Good. We'll have to spank you, Thom, for doing your homework.
Is that what happened at school?
Oh God!
What school
you don't know the half of it.
Can I just say, number one fan, I have not had out of my head.
Yeah, that's great.
Since I've listened, it's funny. I was having a shower this morning and just singing it's just on a constant repeat in my head.
The beginning bit as well is just so grungy and just.
It's just great. It's just
like angsty 90s, just
it's just cool.
Grungy,
it's just cool fucking pop music. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? I feel like I should be wearing something and pretending like I don't really give a shit.
It's like a bit of emo, a bit intense.
I enjoy a lot of their singles individually. I found listening to the album that some of the songs were quite forgettable.
Yeah, you're wrong.
You are wrong. So
it's a body of work.
There was a couple of songs that I was I couldn't even. I found it quite hard to even just get into them because I just found them a bit too.
It's because they're good, Thom.
I go somewhere else when I listen to the album. It's
same. It transports.
Stay Away is one of my favorite songs of 2019.
It's a good song.
One of the best songs
really
written last year. It's incredible.
Sticks out. It just sticks out for me, that song.
For me,
they've all got that real good. They know how to lead up to a big moment in the song. Pink Light as well is another absolute banger.
Pink Light.
And Who is just so depressing. It really, really gets you deep.
Though it just brings out those emotions in you, or reminds you and takes you back to those experiences. Or if you're going through it, or you remember it, you think, fuck, I'm not going through that anymore.
Yeah,
it's like a portal to all your emotions. That album, it just I get in my feels whenever I listen to that.
Well, if you do have any thoughts about that, you can get in touch with us at any point by following us at the BopCast at Instagram and on Twitter. We'd love your emails and suggestions about thoughts and feedback. So we've got an email address, which is thebopcast@hotmail.com. And also what would be wicked is in order for us to get more recognition on, particularly I think it's on Apple Podcasts, we need people to give us a rating. So if you've got 2 minutes and you could give us a little 5-star review and some feedback, that would be incredible, because to
There's
get
only
to
so many times I can submit it myself. So
yeah, I have pressed it about 4 or 5 times. Yeah,
Yeah.
and I can't really write my own review. So if you do get 5, it would be amazing. And also pass it on. If you've got through episode 2 and gone, okay, this isn't they've kept me engaged. Feel free to pass it on. If you pass it on to one person, we'll pass it on to another, and soon we've got this. Suddenly we're so famous, and Lowri's got over 50 followers, so we could.
I can't believe I won't be able to handle it.
If we get over 50 by episode 3, then we'll be there.
Thank you for listening.
What are we doing next week, Lau?
Oh yes, it's my turn to host next week. I'm very, very excited about next week. So I want to talk about what made us fall in love with pop music. And we're just going to look into why we love it, for it to be the artist, the concert, even the merch. So yeah, we're going to really delve into that next week. And
yeah, I mean, we need
hopefully you'll find out a bit more about us as well.
Yeah, we definitely need to discuss the Chromatica thong. That needs to be on.
There's a jockstrap now as well.
Sorry, the jockstrap. That's what I meant.
There's 2. No, there's a thong and a jockstrap.
Oh, we should all get one.
Yeah. Please, can we get one? And then if we do a Chromatica listening party,
yes,
be sat
yes,
in it. Yeah,
absolutely.
And that can go. Then we can create an OnlyFans.
Yes.
So much.
And we can do OnlyFans. So if you do want to watch us in Chromatica underwear, lingerie, reacting to Chromatica, if you feel like you do want that as additional content, please do get in touch via email. And we will start our OnlyFans. Look, Beyonce's promoted OnlyFans now, so it's the next big thing, right? It's the next TikTok, right?
I'm not sure I could do any more hobbies.
Amazing.
Right, guys, episode 2 done.
Thank you, guys.
Dusted.
Bye.
Whoop, whoop,
whoop. Bye.
Bye. Speak to you soon. Love you. Bye. Bye.
I'm actually going.
Bye now. Bye. Bye now. That's actually my least favourite thing that people do is when they say bye numerous times on the phone. It's like you.
I do that. I go bye.
Like why? Who needs to do that?
Bye. I don't know. It's like a stutter.
Stutter.
Bye.
Right, I'm gonna wee myself, so I need to. I'm like jiggling around.